Yo, what up, what up, what up, and welcome to Pnoid News. Man, listen, Bill Cosby is free. All right, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of impartial in this because I don't give a fuck about Bill Cosby, like as a whole. But I think being a Pennsylvania resident and understanding the Pennsylvania court system as a whole and knowing some things that a lot of people don't, I'm going to show you some stuff in this video that is going to show you really how corrupt the system actually is. So let's first understand what happened in Bill Cosby's case, right? And just in case anybody hasn't actually understood. All right, so basically, here's what happened. Okay, so here's what. All right, so what they did was they stood here and they gave Bill Cosby, like, basically they said, look, I mean, this deposition that we're going to give you, like, they had a civil case against him, right? Where he sat here and admitted to, you know what I'm saying, like giving quaaludes to females or whatever. Now, this was back in the 70s and 80s, and giving quaaludes to females, you know what I'm saying, was like a normal type of thing. Giving drugs to individuals is a normal thing. Like getting high and getting drunk and having sex was a normal thing in the 70s and 80s and 60s and 90s, really. It wasn't until recent years where this was really considered a rape as a whole, as far as socially. Not legally, but socially, right? You know what I'm saying? Because getting like, dude standing here getting, you know what I'm saying, an 8 ball of coke and, going to a hotel room with a chick and them getting fucked up and getting it in was just a normal, everyday thing for a certain type of people, right? And especially movie stars and individuals who are making shit tons of money at that point, right? You know what I'm saying? Big, coke and power ties, power steering, you know what I'm saying? Power fucking, power lunches or whatever, right? It is what it is. So they stood here and he said, look, like you get this deposition and, in a civil suit, and we will give you immunity, right, from being prosecuted, right? Bruce L. Castor Jr., who was then district attorney in Montgomery County, PA, outside Philadelphia, issued a news release saying that he had declined to charge Mr. Cosby over the matter. Mr. Cosby then sat for depositions in a separate lawsuit filed against him by Mrs. Constant, which he paid her $3.38 million to settle in 2006. But a subsequent district attorney reversed Mr. Castor's decision and charged the entertainer with assaulting Mrs. Constant. After all, prosecutors used what Mr. Cosby had said in this deposition, his admission that in decades past he had given quaaludes to women in an effort to have sex with them, as evidence against him. Right? He said, we hold that when a prosecutor makes an unconditional promise of non-prosecution, when the defendant relies upon that guarantee to the detriment of his own constitutional right not to testify. Because here's the truth. You don't have to stand here and talk to the cops. You don't have to give them any statements. He said, when they say, you have the right to remain silent. Anything used against you can and will be used against you in a court of law, right? Keep your fucking mouth shut and don't snitch on yourself. Don't try to explain anything away. Right. And this is what any good lawyer will tell you. Like, don't say a fucking word before you talk to an attorney. Like, real shit. This is why attorneys are really important in these type of criminal charges. Like, legitimately. All right. Mr. Castor, who this year was one of the judges, one of the defense lawyers and President Donald J. Trump, whatever, I don't care. He said that he would announce in 2005 that Mr. Cosby would not be charged in the effort to prevent him from invoking his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. So he would have to testify in Miss Constant's coming civil case. In 2016, when the Cosby defense team was trying to get the criminal charges thrown out, they took the unusual steps of calling Mr. Castor as a witness. At pre-trial hearing, he testified that he had believed Mrs. Constant, but did not think the evidence was enough to prove her accusations beyond a reasonable doubt. He defended the decision as a way to help her suit. I decided we would not prosecute Mr. Cosby, and that would set a chain of events that would get some justice for Andrea Constant, Mr. Castor said. Right. Now, so, right, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, which usually this is how things work out in Philadelphia, all right, especially when it's somebody who's high profile, it's going to the Supreme Court because the judges in Philly are garbage. We're going to show you that here in a minute, right? Did Mr. Constant make a binding promise? Yes, said the Supreme Court majority. There was no formal written non-prosecution agreement, just a terse news release. And Ms. Constant and her lawyers have said they were not told of any promise or deal. Against that backdrop, a legal dispute arose over whether Mr. Castor had in fact offered a binding promise that Mr. Cosby would never be charged, and if he did, whether he had the authority to do so. Mr. Castor maintained he had made such a pledge, but the trial judge disagreed and ruled that the criminal case be brought up by the new district attorney could proceed. So basically, the judge overstepped his bounds, and this is something that happens on a regular basis in Philadelphia. So let's talk about this, right? Actually, we'll go here first. This is Judge Brinkley. She is a common pleas court judge in Philadelphia. She was overseeing the trial of a dude named Meek Mills, right? Now, Meek Mills, back when he was like 17 years old, he got caught with a gun and drugs. You know what I'm saying? You know how it works in the hood. He's from the projects in Philadelphia. So when he stood here and got caught with these guns and drugs, they charged him, said, you have 10 years probation to walk off and you do a year and a half in jail. Now, this judge, right, throughout the time period, like once he became famous, because he was not famous when he was 17. He got famous like 25, 26 years old, right? Once he became famous, she all of a sudden started trying to interfere in his music career, right? To the point of where she tried to influence Meek Mills into a remix of a Boyz II Men song, right? And she was standing here trying to, like talk shit about his management team and, the individuals dealing with his career. She also, and by the way, you should really go, Joe Tacopina. All right, that makes more sense. Okay. Most lawyers in Philly are either Jews or Italians. That's how it works. So, said Brinkley is infatuated with Mr. Mills. She's enamored with him, Tacopina said. She showed up at his community service for our homeless people. The judge, not a probation officer, not a sheriff, not like, a DA, right? Not the cops. She, the judge, went to his community service for homeless people where he was doing his, his mandatory community service for probation. She showed up herself, right? And here's the thing. She was investigated by the FBI on how she handled the case, and she's still going to be a judge for the next 2 years. And this happened back in 2017. This is the criminal courts, and this is the court system in Philadelphia. It's garbage. It's like the court system here in Harrisburg. You can go check out my video on Janine Turgeon. I think you'll enjoy if you're a dude in particular. Or you might get mad and, put a hole in your computer monitor with your gun and Elvis that motherfucker. Don't shoot towards a wall that has people behind it. Know what you're shooting at. Just putting that out there. Remember, always look past what you're shooting at. Think about that. It's important. Bullets go a long way. Don't hurt nobody. But look, you know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you share this video out if you enjoy this content. I'm Tom Pease. You know how it works. Peace.